Reading for understanding, and is in most reading also for profit, because we profit from understanding, we profit for fun. So the expression reading for fun, profit, and understanding, and the development of habitual critical thinking must include this observation that reading for fun or reading for understanding always produces profit and helps in cultivating the habit of habitual critical thinking, which is important to us, and as we govern amongst ourselves so that civilization persists. As someone once said, for civilization to survive, we must remain civilized. And that was a quote from Rod Serling. Anyway, as you can see on your screen, the name of this book is Partitions. And it's probably pretty hard to see on the screen, but I'll pull it up here close and even switch it around to the spine of the book so you can see that right there. There it is. Senor Amit Majmudar. Amit, that's A-M-I-T, that's his first name, Amit Majmudar. And this particular book is a very serious work, stomach-churning, heart-wrenching, mind-boggling, and definitely a book to dwell on the meanings of. Partitions by Amit Majmudar. And it's a historical novel based on fact, based on experience. And it's set in the time of the partitioning of the subcontinent of India into the country of India and East and West Pakistan. East Pakistan being the now country of Bangladesh, which was the most ridiculous concept in the world that they did this anyway. Bangladesh, situated on the eastern shore of the Indian subcontinent, and Pakistan, I believe, is landlocked. But I'd have to look at the map again for sure. I should have looked before I started this post, but hey, you guys can look too. But Pakistan's up there in the northwest corner of the subcontinent, there by Afghanistan and stuff. And East and West Pakistan were supposed to be the same country, ruled by the same government and everything. And then later on, there was this big thing about Bangladesh wanting to be its own country so it could get proper, help, financial help from the rest of the world as a poverty-stricken, messed up country. And sure enough, that's what they've been ever since. Bangladesh is not a country in its own right because it has no way to control itself. It was created in a big, huge, giant swamp. Basically, it's horrible and ridiculous, and it has everything to do. Even though in this story it doesn't play, what happens later doesn't play in this story. It's what happened in this story that has controlled the events, the subsequent events. It's the story of the partition of the people who had to uproot their lives because the colonial powers, after finally deciding that they were going to give their subjects freedom. We had to fight for our freedom from England, and then it was only by the influence of the United States that they were forced to give up the rest of their colonies, and the rest of the European powers had to give up their colonies, and they're just barely now giving up the last of their colonies. I believe there's still some colonies in Africa and South America that are controlled by the European powers. Well, as a matter of fact, of course, there's the Falkland Islands. That's just a small case, so there's other cases that probably won't come to the front because the powers of England, the powers of the European money people of Europe, who enriched themselves for 400 years on the booty of the inferior, the countries, the New World, where the inhabitants were inferior as far as military goes, and even being in a collective action. They were unable to, in any way whatsoever, basically, to resist the invaders. And though they still have pockets of indigenous people in those in all of America. They have very little power. They have power today because of the political influence, and unfortunately, they use that influence not to upgrade themselves, but to mire in their old traditions, as if dancing around the fire and sacrificing one of their own to the gods is some kind of great thing. Well, they don't sacrifice anybody to the gods around, but they still dance around the fire in these odd, weird costumes, giving praise and admiration to some fictional gods and spirits. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I like the dances and everything. That should be preserved. But they actually believe. They don't believe in God, and they believe in the spirit of this, or the eagle spirit, or the alligator spirit. How about the anaconda spirit? Anyway, get a little far afield. Probably boring you already. Partitions by Amit Majmudar. An incredible read and an important historical understanding of the events that are still ongoing today. Later, another read.